Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and this is Whisper. And we are back. I know it's been a minute, but Bravo had a break, and so I took full advantage of the Bravo break during the holidays. And yeah, so hopefully you had a great holiday or having a great holiday season so far, but if not, and you're having those days where things just don't feel great, hang in there. For those who don't know, I also have seasonal depression, and it's a wave. You have your ups and downs during this time of year, but hang in there, and hopefully this channel is helping you. Anyway, that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about the Real Housewives of Potomac, and it's season 9. Episode 13, and it's called Rumble in the Jungle. And before we get into the review, I know y'all are sick of me saying this, and I'm pretty sure you're sick of the other reviewers saying it, but it is what it is. I'm gonna need this to be Mia and Jacqueline's last time. As much as they're bringing the drama on the show, it's very forced. It's ratchet. It ain't it. I don't like it. They're on the wrong show. Love and Hip Hop makes more sense to me. And one other thing I will mention is Stacey and her confessionals. Chef's kiss. I'm not going to hold you. Stacey gives me hope for this show because she is such a breath of fresh air. And she, we were worried with, at least for me, I was worried when Candace was no longer on the show, like, who's going to be the shade assassin in the confessionals? And, I will say that the other ladies are taking their turns, stepping it up. Ashley's being a little bit more shady in her confessionals, but the problem is most people don't like her, and, me included for the most part. And then Wendy has stepped up more, being more of a shady person in the confessionals. But I don't know. I feel like Stacey's shade is very similar to it's similar to me as a Candace, where it just comes off naturally. It doesn't come off forced. And because Stacey is so likable and kind of like a little bit, kind of goofy, it works. Because it's still just light shade. It's not venomous. It's none of those things. And with Candace, as a Candace fan, I will definitely admit Candace shade was like venomous. Like, she was a wordsmith that her words were equal to getting punched in the face. Like, her words were lethal. And with Stacey is a little bit more kiki, cutesy. Anyway. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the episode. And child, you see what I did here? So I was eating before I get into the episode. Yeah, I don't think this review is going to be very long, so let's talk a little bit. Plus, I haven't been on camera for a while. Anyway, so right before I decided to film this, I just had dinner, and my asparagus, because I roasted some asparagus with some olive oil. I'm so irritated because I was like, okay, but I'm not going to change because it's like later on in the evening. If I'm changing, I'm changing my bedclothes and going to bed. That's what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get into the review. I know you're not here for that. Okay, so the episode continues where we left off last time before the break, and this is where Mia and Jacqueline Mia's panicking because she can't find her kids. And I'm sorry. I know y'all saw that I did that. I did that for a reason because, let's be real, what do we believe when it comes to Mia and what do we not believe? And as we're watching the episode, you will understand why I'm saying that. And I already thought that way before the episode, but the episode made it worse. It was like, okay, I don't know if that really happened the way she's saying it. So basically what the story that they're running with, them two, is that Gordon did not like that the kids were with the nanny. He took the kids, drove them somewhere else, further away, and then dropped them off with, like, I guess, her ex, like, peoples, like her ex grandma. And when she said her ex, they didn't say the name. They bleeped it out. I don't know who it was exactly. If they said a little bit more, please put it in the comments. But like, I'm sorry. When it comes to whenever she's saying her personal story, what's going on, I don't believe it. So I kind of somewhat tune out. And so she's panicking. But then, of course, miraculously, she finds out where her kids are. Because at first, she's like, with the stance of she can't find her kids, she's coming back immediately. And this is my view on it, and kind of like a lot of ladies' views, and I'm just going to put it out there right away. And this is I'm not someone who has kids. But I guess the only reference I could have is if, with my cats. I know that's not a great example, but that's okay. We'll just say this. If I had kids, or even if it was my cats or any pets, if someone wants to just decide they're going to, like, let's say, because technically I actually got my cats with my ex. So let's say my ex is still watching my cats and he was just to take them off somewhere and he's not answering his phone and I don't know where they're at. I'm on vacation. Vacation's over. I'm going to go find where my cats are, aka if they're my kids, I'm going to find where my kids are at. And I'm also going to call the police. There wouldn't have been calling around family members. I would have actually called the police. That would have been just me. I would have just went directly to the law. I am about that life. I'm going to call the law on you. You're not going to just take, if it was my children, you're not going to just take my kid. I'm not going to know where my kid is at. I'm not going to be panicking like that. That's not how that goes. Especially since they're... And the thing is, it's hard for me to believe if this is true or not, just because even I saw the social media, she hung out with him on New Year's Eve. The person who, basically she's saying on the show he kidnapped them. Make it make sense. Anyway, so of course, miraculously, she knows where her kids are at, and now she's good. After she had this full-on panic attack, and she's crying, yet there's no tears. And then that's it on that. And then from there, we do have this brief scene where Stacy pays Kay a visit in her room, and they're just kind of hanging out for a second, and Stacy's joking, like, can I just, like, room back with you? Like, I miss having you as a roommate. Because, of course, Stacy and Giselle, it's awkward. But we knew that was why Wendy did that. But that's pretty much all that happens here. And then from there, we have basically the ladies on their way to Panama City to go shopping, and so they're going to basically go shopping for a little bit. And then once they go shopping, because they're basically like in the shopping district, they're going to be at a shopping district, and kind of part of the city is kind of like an old school Latin field. So I would compare it to, based off of what I saw on the screen, like the streets you would see, like to me, it reminded me of old San Juan, like in Puerto Rico. I know it's not the same deal, but it's that the old school architecture that's very Spanish influenced. Like it's there because, of course, it's also another Latin country, so it makes sense that it's going to be similar. Anyway, so the plan is, though, they're going to do that, and then from there, they're going to do some rum tasting, and basically get a little litty, have some snacks while they're doing that, and then from there, go to dinner. Which I did like that they at least did something other than just like eat. But I just wish it would do some adventurous stuff. I'm pretty sure there's some cool adventurous stuff they could have did. And I'm not sure why they didn't do any sightseeing. They did some walking around sightseeing, but like, be in one of those cars or something, where it has like, and maybe they're going to next episode. I don't know, but it was just kind of confusing how like, I don't know. That's one of my only critiques, one of my mini critiques, actually. I'll be honest. There's many critiques when it comes to the cast trips, when it comes to Potomac. But it's just kind of like, the girlies don't do much. And it's kind of, I wouldn't like that as a vacation for me. Let's just say that. But this vacation is an upgrade for what their vacations normally are. I still will want more for me. But anyway, they're on their way to doing this. And then as they're on, like in like the shuttle situation, Karen asks Kay about, how are things with her and Greg. And can we be honest? Okay, honesty time. I hate to say this, but I feel like Kay should just been a friend of. She's not bringing anything to the show. She's not really bringing much. Like, I like Kay, and I thought I was going to get more out of her than what I'm getting. And I mean, we do get a little bit more from her later on this episode, but it's not enough for her to be full-time, which honestly, it makes sense to me now why Kay was a friend of until towards the end of until towards the end. Because to me, it's giving the producers were on the fence on making her full-time. I'm not sure what happens. Because she did bring some things, I would say, like on the trip when they went to Lake Norman and she was going back and forth with Mia. But other than that, she hasn't really brought much. I was expecting more. I was expecting to see her at her business more. Because I did enjoy seeing her business last season when we got introduced to her. I was expecting more, and maybe we will see more of what's going on with her and Greg. Enough for, it to validate her being a full-time housewife. But as of right now, it's just kind of like, and maybe my thing is with Kay, and I hate that I feel this way, is she just kind of comes off dry on screen. And I feel like last season I didn't get that from her. And maybe it was because she was a friend of versus full-time. And she wasn't on the screen as much. Because I even feel similar to this. I don't know why... Jazz is not full-time. I wanted more from her. I actually wanted to know more what's going on with her. And I wanted to know more of Jacqueline. And I guess, depending on how the rest of this season pans out, that at this point, that would be how I would switch things up. I would get rid of Mia, get rid of Jacqueline, bring someone else on the show, make Jazzy full-time, drop Kay to a friend of. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But anyway, so she does talk about what's going on with her and Greg. We find out that she's she's been living with Greg in his house for over 90 days now. Their new house will be ready in 4.5 weeks. And she's kind of painting a picture to ladies that things are great with her and Greg, and that that he's missing her cooking. But we know and saw from I think it was either the previous episode or 2 episodes ago, because it's been 2 weeks, I don't remember now. That Greg was criticizing her for not cooking. So I'm like, girl, which one is it? Anyway, so then from there. Giselle starts asking some of the juicy questions, trying to get in Karen's business, but in a light, fun way. Asking so Ray told me you have a list for him of things to do in order for things to improve in y'all relationship. And Karen is still kind of doing her thing where she's trying to, tap dance around it. But she's like, yeah, basically I need, chivalry, because chivalry isn't dead. And also he needs to go downtown. And, of course, all the ladies in the business, so is that happening? She's like, yeah, it's getting there. We're working on that. And then Karen's like, when he does go downtown, he does a very great job. And then Giselle's like, so is it reciprocated? Have you changed your stance? And Karen's like, absolutely not. I retired it. When I say I retired it, I retired it. And they're all like, girl, because, and this is a callback from, I think it was 2 seasons ago where she said she retired her mouth. And she's like, she meant that. She's like, no. And then of course Sharon, not Sharon, Karen in her confessionals kind of shades Giselle. She's like, I don't know why, because Giselle's like, I do give the BJ, so I don't know what you're talking about. I do that. And Karen's like, there's only like a 5-year age difference between me and her. I don't know why she's still doing that. Child, it's time to retire. And so it was kind of cute and funny. But at the same time, Karen, that list, knowing what we know now, there's a couple things this episode, what comes to the Karen of it all, it didn't age well. I'll just say that. And that was one of them. I'm like, girl. Girl. Anyway. And then from there, Ashley she's sitting next to Jacqueline, and Jacqueline starts basically telling Ashley what occurred this morning with Mia not knowing where her kids are at. And as she's saying all this stuff, Mia's like, in the back of like the Sprinter van, kind of just like looking like nothing happened. And so immediately Ashley's like kind of sighing her. She's like, girl, what? So in the confessional, and this is where we know, oh, Ashley ain't got her back anymore. In the confessional, it was like, oh, it's done. And we already knew that was going to happen because and we know it's not necessarily about the kids. It's really about the fact that Mia said what she said to Giselle and doubled down on it. And, we know that now that Robin's no longer here, Ashley's the new sidekick for Giselle. And technically, it was like 3 of them for the past couple seasons, but now it's just really Ashley and Giselle. And so we already knew that this was not, we already knew Ashley was like, unless Mia, changes her stance on things, we already kind of saw this coming. At least I saw it coming. But yeah, so Ashley's basically shading the crap out of her in the confessional. She's like, girl, I don't know why this, that, and this, but no, that ain't it. And side note, I will say this. Some of the girlies in this episode had new confessional looks, and what I must say is, chef's kiss. Stacey looks amazing on her confessionals, by the way. And Ashley, and I don't give Ashley her props often, but her newer confessional look with the hair down and stuff, it looks really nice. But I will say this. It reminds me of someone who's no longer on the show. And I know y'all are sick of me saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it. It's very inspiring. Sometimes the fashion girls inspire the others. Anyway, neither here nor there. Okay, and so then from there, they are there at the city now. And we hear Jacqueline and her she's such an idiot. I cannot stand Jacqueline. She's like, she goes out there and she's like, oh my gosh, this looks just like Atlanta. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? I don't know. For those who saw the episode, where did y'all get Atlanta from? Where do you think she got Atlanta from? Because I didn't see it. And I've been to Atlanta before. I've also been to, a couple of places that have like Latin culture. No. Girl, no. I don't know where you got that from. I think the only thing that she could have said, maybe reminded her of that, was like the guy on a horse. But like, that's all over the world that you could see monuments that look like that. I mean, well, at least all over the Americas, like, because that's a thing. Like, we have kind of a statue. We actually have a statue in the city that's like that. So, anyway. So then, Wendy's like kind of giving them the rundown of what they're looking at, what they're about to do one more time. And then as they're walking to get ready to go to the shops, Wendy's getting catcalled, and I understand, because I would too. And Wendy in her confessional, she's just like, when I step out, the Godiva goddess begin the attention. Whether it's in the United States of these Americas or somewhere else, the Godiva goddess begin the attention. And she was killing me, her confessional, because she is a Godiva goddess. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyway, and so the ladies split between the two shops. We have Giselle, Karen, Wendy, and I'm trying to. Oh, Jack. No, no, no. Yeah, Jacqueline, I think. They're all one shop. Pretty sure that's what it is. And then the other shop, we have Ashley, Kay, Stacy, and Mia. There we go. I was like, I knew it was 4 and 4. And so Karen and Giselle, they kind of go to the side. They're like, let's go ahead and buy, Wendy some stuff because of, she's been such a great hostess so far. So, and they're at a hat store. At least these group of ladies, they're at a hat store because Panama is known for their hats. Like, actually, I would say there are quite a few Central American like spots, and like the Caribbean is known for like the hats. But I know Panama is like mainly. And so Giselle brought. So they both end up buying they end up both buying Wendy a hat, and then her daughter a matching hat, and they're both kind of like pink. And then over while this is happening on the other side, or the other shop, which is kind of more of like a knick and knack shop where they just have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Ashley is, basically they're talking to me about the kids thing. I forgot how it came up, but it came up, and I think Ashley's the one who asked about it. I'm pretty sure, because Ashley's the only one that knew at the moment, besides like Jacqueline. And Ashley is just questioning all of this in her confessional as Mia's responding, because what Mia's saying doesn't make any sense. And that's one thing about Mia be lying. I hate to say that because, well, she do be lying. Mia be lying. She lies so much that she don't realize her lies don't make sense. And that's the tragic part about it. So Ashley is questioning all this in the confessional. Stacy's still too new that she's like believing everything that Mia's saying. And I'm like, girl, how? And then Kay is just kind of like, this is Mia, and is giving her nothing the whole entire time as she's saying that Kay is showing that she's concerned, but in the back of her mind, and based off of Kay's comment in the confessional, she's like, this is just how Mia is. Like, she's really giving Mia nothing, because honestly, the best way to stop someone who's like a stunt queen or attention whore like Mia and Jacqueline basically are, you give them nothing, and it shuts it down. Anyway, so as she's saying this and talking about the kid situation, Ashley shifts it. She's like, well, I'm sorry you had a horrible morning, but I do feel a way about you doubling down on what you said to Giselle the other night. What was that about? I know you're going through some things, but you don't need to be doing what you did. And I love that Ashley is keeping her foot on Mia's neck. I never thought I would say I love Ashley and then some ... I never thought I would ever say that, but let's be real. They need to get her off the show. And towards the end, I was like, okay, thank you. Like, I kind of felt like I was vindicated a little bit towards the end of this episode. But anyway, so hopefully I'm not spoiling too much now. So basically, Mia now is tripling down and is basically giving, Ashley nothing. And pardon me. And then Ashley's just like, okay, I just can't with you anymore. And she's walking out of the shop. She's like, I don't even want to be around her anymore. So she walks out the shop. She's done with her. And and then as she's walking out, Kay follows her to just, check on Ashley. And Kay's like, so what's up? Are you good? She's like, being her friend's exhausting. I'm over it. I'm just like, yeah. I wouldn't want to be her friend, try to keep up with all her lies and all that. You never know if she's telling the truth or not, like, ever. because I actually would feel horrible if like she was telling the truth about the whole kid situation, which I don't think she is. But if she really was, I would feel horrible. But the problem is, she lies so much. You don't. It's like it's literally it's like the boy who cried wolf. I don't know when the wolf is actually there for real. Like no one knows. But anyway, so Stacy is still entertaining this with Mia, and then Kay comes back, and then this is when she says the whole thing like, I'm not surprised at all. And then after that, then them three decide they're gonna buy some gifts for Eddie, Happy Eddie, and they get him a bong that's like in the shape of banana because Pam is known for bananas. And then they also got him like a matching ashtray. And so then after that, then let's see what happens here. Oh, so then after that, they're done shopping. They're all on their way to the rum tasting, and they're getting catcalled like crazy. All of them. I could see that happening. I can see because I mean the girls are looking good. They are looking good. So they do end up at the rum tasting, and Jacqueline's just being annoying. Still being annoying. Oh, I forgot to mention. So even before the rum tasting, Giselle and Karen actually did give Wendy the gifts that they got for her, and Wendy was gracious and was like, "Thank you, that's so nice." And then the shady producers in the confessional asked Wendy, "Will she ever wear this hat?" Because the hat was not cute. Although I ain't gonna hold you, I would wear that hat on a beach day. But, Wendy's like, no, I will never wear that. I was like, oh my gosh. But she was being shady. I don't think it was light shade, so fine. And then after that, then basically after they mentioned the gift thing, then Kay and, because I think, it gets brought up about the gifts of it all. And so, then that's when like Stacy, Mia, and Kay present the gift to Wendy about Happy Eddie stuff. And Wendy was confused, at least when it came to like the bong, because it was like an interesting looking bong. Because also too, what we know about Wendy is she does partake, but clearly that's more of an Eddie thing and not really so much of a her thing. And I don't know for sure, but I feel like she's probably more of an edibles girly versus a smoking girly. So when it comes to the bongs and all that, she probably is truly not familiar with all the different unique designs and stuff that could occur. And also, it doesn't obviously look like a bong. So she was genuinely confused until they explained what it was. She's like, oh, okay, cool. And then you have Jacqueline in the background, like, you don't like that, do you? And I'm so glad because she kept trying to repeat it, try and make it a thing. And Wendy gave her nothing, just act like she didn't talk. I was like, thank you. And then as they're doing the rum tasting, Karen's still not drinking. And something comes up about, well, we don't have to worry about driving after this. And that, again, this is Jacqueline. And Karen just gives her a quick, you're such a bitch, and then keep it pushing. But then in the confessional, and I just wish Karen would do the same thing as really like a Wendy. Because one thing about Wendy is she is really good about giving people who don't deserve nothing. And Jacqueline would just look stupid if she's just talking to herself. It would be great. Not that she needs help looking stupid. This scene alone, she proves that that's exactly how her intelligence is not very intelligent. Like, oh my gosh. But anyway, so after Karen said what she said, though, she's in the confessional and she's just talking about like, she's like, I don't need to be sober. I just don't want to drink in front of these women. And she's like, and people like Jacqueline's the reason why, this, that, and this, and that. And This is another case of what she said in her confessional. Not aging well, saying that she doesn't need to be sober. Karen, girl, based off that footages, I think, I don't know. I don't agree. I do not agree. Thomas Jefferson's concubine. I do not agree with you. Just saying. Anyway, so then basically Ashley excuses herself to FaceTime her kids. And I think that was a light shade, but she actually was going to call her kids to do a FaceTime. Because she says, I just want to call them before I get to it. Because they're drinking. And we know what kind. They're about to get litty today. And so she excuses herself, FaceTimes her kids. And then as this is happening, basically the rum tasting success. And so they decide from there they're going to start playing some games. And one of the games that they started playing is they basically were imitating each other. And so Kay imitates both Stacy and Mia perfectly. It was quite funny. And then Karen and Jacqueline imitate Wendy. Mia, Giselle, and Jacqueline, they imitate Karen. Stacy imitates Ashley. Karen, Ashley, and Wendy imitate Giselle. Wendy and Giselle imitate Kay. And it's cute. Everyone's just having fun. And one thing I will say that I'm going to give these ladies props is that I do like that this season, outside the Mia mess, is a light season. And I'm so glad it is. Like, I'm so glad that the ladies, for the most part, are getting along. I could not handle any more seasons of just the toxicity. And as much as I love, and I know I keep bringing her up, Candace, I am glad that this season she's not there, because I didn't see the dynamic would not have been the same, I feel like, honestly. So there's that. Anyway, honestly too, and I think Mia would not have been able to get away with the storyline if Candace was still there. I'm just gonna say it. So I don't know, it's a double-edged sword a little bit. Anyway, so then basically from there, we have because Giselle and Wendy were imitating Kay and her constantly talking about Greg, then she basically talks about how, before we end up getting to how serious we are, because she really loves Greg. She's like, we did go on a vacation together, just a temperature check, and I was like, that is true. That is accurate. In the future, I am taking things so snail slow with whoever I end up being with. And we're going to need to go on vacation first to see if it works. Because, child, my last ex, once I realized we can't vacation together very well, like it kind of was great, but it kind of wasn't. I was like, oh no, this is not going to work for me. This is a no. And then Giselle in her confessional actually shares something about how she actually went on vacation with a guy she was dating. And the guy ended up leaving her in Puerto Rico. But she did make sure he paid the bill and everything. She's like, okay, you can go now. And she just had her the rest of her time on the trip by herself. I was like, child, I know that's right. And looking back, I kind of wish I would have did that when it came to my ex too a couple times. But, oh well, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, and then Jacqueline makes a shift, starts talking about her sex life, and everyone at the table is kind of grossed out, including myself and Karen. And Karen is giving only the looks that Karen can give. And then the subject of Jacqueline and Mia's threesomes came out. And Giselle kept saying, so wait, you have a threesome with Ink? You have a threesome with Ink? And she's saying it didn't happen that way. And then Mia kind of finally corrects them and said, it didn't quite happen like that. Child, I don't believe them. I just don't believe anything. And I honestly think Jacqueline and Mia are still bumping cootie cats. I think that's still a thing. Child, yeah. The way how Jacqueline is so possessive of Mia, something's going on. That ain't no friendship. That ain't just no friendship. And that is not like just like her best friend. Child. Anyway. And then Jacqueline is, so they're still talking about this. And Jacqueline is doing herself such a horrible disservice because, again, not the brightest. She just will not stop talking about it. And the way for the women to stop looking at you is to, and even Mia in her confessional is shading her and just like, I just wish sometimes Jacqueline would just stop talking because she is making it worse. And they're just all looking at her like she's crazy. And then she wouldn't stop talking. I forgot what any of them stopped talking about it. I think it's because I think it's because Wendy was being shady, and she's like, "So now that I know so much more about your sex life, thanks for that. It's time for us to get changed and get ready to go out." And then Karen's like, "Wait, what? Where are we changing at?" And they're like, "The restroom." And Karen was like, "What is this?" And I'm kind of on the side, and okay, come with me. Because I am someone that does change the restroom fairly regularly because of my running and stuff, I don't mind that. Especially if you're doing runs outside in the winter months, you can't stay in those winter clothes because there's gonna be sweat and all the things. So typically, after I do like my run with like my running group, for example, I bring a change of clothes and change immediately so I don't end up catching a cold. So from that standpoint, I get that. And then there's been a couple times where like, okay, I'm going out. Now going out, I'm not doing that. I'm not sure. Well, you know what? It really depends. I might. I haven't done that in a while, but sometimes you gotta make it do what it do. And Wendy's like, we're going out to dinner. We can't have the same clothes on, which that part I agree with. But changing in a public restroom, that could be dicey, especially if you've never been there before, you're not familiar with the area and stuff like that. For me, the example that I'm providing, I go to this place regularly, so I know what the sanitation and all that is. It's a clean restroom. I'm weird. I'm a little funny about it, so I kind of agreed with both Karen and Wendy when it came to that whole stance, but just parts of it. But anyway, so the ladies, they do change, and then they go off to go to dinner. And on the way to dinner, Mia is talking to Ink about a booty call via FaceTime. And the ladies are sighing her yet again because, like, you just stated you didn't know where your kids were. And now you want to do a booty call on the way home. But you didn't know where your kids were. Make it make sense. And then even in like the confessional, Mia tried to explain it, but I was like, girl, because she said her oldest is in Atlanta, which was not the children that were missing. He was not the child that was missing. So your explanation behind you seeing your oldest in Atlanta before you go see your other kids, you knew where your oldest one was at the whole time. So that doesn't make sense. And I wish Mia, when she does her lives, realize that doesn't even make sense. It's just, it's the lack of concern for me. You went from like, oh my God, I don't know where my kids are at, to like, oh, I can't wait to have a booty call with you. Like, girl, what? And so we have Stacy shading her in the confessional. She's like, go to your kids. I was like, thank you. And Ashley's like, girl, it's like it's wild to me when like everyone else in the group is all like on the same page and on the same accord. That's crazy. I don't think I've ever seen this group of ladies united like this ever. It took Mia to unite the girls. And I hate that is what it took, but unfortunately that's what it took. Anyway, so then as this is happening, Stacy is calling TJ. TJ has his shirt off. And I'm sorry, I didn't really care about this so much because I'm just like, the TJ thing, I'm like, girl, stop it. Anyway, so they do arrive to dinner, and then it's shot time because they need shots just to loosen them up and all that good stuff. And then Stacy asks KK, or K, I don't know why I was going to call her K, about the court case. And so the lady's like, wait, huh? What court case you got? And basically Stacy found this online. And Kay is like, yeah, I am suing Sesame Street. And then they were like, wait, that's still happening? And Giselle's the one who's like, oh, that's still a thing. And Kay didn't really shade her, but just said more as a matter of fact. She's like, oh yeah, it's a thing and it'll always be a thing. Yeah. Yeah. And they were just like, so is this both civil and, criminal? And she actually did explain that actually already was criminal just based upon the cops being involved initially. And for those who didn't watch last season, that was pretty much what happened in the season finale, which basically kind of, I think that might be the reason why Kay is full-time, is because of what happened there. And Sesame Street, I just won't call her. I won't call that lady by her name. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to call her Sesame Street because it works. Because she was doing clownery behavior. And she basically assaulted Kay. And so when the police were involved, because, Kay got hurt, it's criminal because of that, but also it's civil. And so we find out it's both. And then Giselle's like, wait, it's both? But she's like, you know she ain't got no money, right? She's like, I don't care. I don't care where she gets it from. She's going to have to find it. And I'm like, and you know what? If that was me, I feel the same way. I agree. Kay is on her Cardi B and Sesame Street is Tasha K. You better find it. You could say I ain't got it all day, but she's keeping her foot on her neck, and as she should. Anyway, so then after that, then basically the server comes to the table on time because you could tell Kay didn't want to talk about it anymore, and to take their order. And as they're taking the order, Giselle orders Karen's food for her, and Wendy observes it. She's like, as much as they pretend they don't like each other, they love each other. It's given they are a couple that've been together for 50 years. She's like, it's so cute. And I cackle because I'm like, child, you ain't wrong. Because I noticed it right away. I was like, wait, not Giselle ordering for Karen. Okay. You know what she likes. I got it. Okay. Anyway. So then Kay shifts the conversation and mentions Ashley walking out when they were shopping. And so then Ashley was like, yeah, I just couldn't handle the conversation. I was just over it. And so the rest of the ladies, basically the other half that wasn't at, that particular shop, don't know what happened. And so this is when Mia explains the whole kid situation to them. And this is where you saw everyone was on one accord. And this is now, so for those who've been paying attention, I try my hardest typically. Unfortunately, with this show, it's kind of hard. But in general, I try when I watch these shows to just keep it to the show and to the show only. But I will say this because now we kind of see it here. Now, when the women have been doing their press runs, individual press runs, you notice that basically none of the women see it for Mia. And I think this is when we see why. It's here. It's here. So then basically, both Wendy's trying to be delicate about it and trying to give her advice. It's just like, I'm a little concerned about your children when it comes to all this. And giving her a soft landing, trying to be nice about it. And Karen, her confessional, is just like, sighing her and, basically no one believes Mia. And then, out of nowhere, then Giselle's like, girl, I get that we care about your kids. We care about all the children here. And then this is where Giselle is like, I'm still just going to need that apology from you. And Mia's like, all right, apologize to you. She's like, you did it off camera though, and the offense was on camera. So I'm gonna need that apology to be on camera. And it did not come off as genuine. And honestly, I hate to say this. It's no fun when the rabbit has the gun, Giselle, is it? And the reason why I'm saying this is because you loved it when Mia was doing this crap to all the other ladies. You loved it when she did it to Wendy. You loved it when she tried to do it to Candace. You loved it. But now that's your turn, and she does the whole, like, I do something really offensive and horrible towards you, but I give you a weak apology, or I apologize on social media, but my apology is nowhere as loud as the offense. Now you feel away because it's your turn. I'm sorry, that was my immediate reaction. I don't like Mia. I don't. But, you know, you were kikiing and loving it when she was doing it to the other women on the show. But I do like she's calling it out, because I will say this. I feel like, you know, Wendy's always in Wendy, so she don't be calling it out as much as she probably should. And Candace had bigger fish to fry, so she was just like, girl, I ain't taking you. Candace just didn't take Mia seriously enough to even push for anything when it came to Mia. So, anyway. But Mia's doubling down is not giving her anything. It's just saying, I'm going through a lot, and she starts her fake crying with no tears. And then this is when Jacqueline is being the representative yet again and starts chiming in and starts talking for Mia yet again. And Giselle finally was like, shut up. Basically shuts her down. She's like, girl, if you don't stop talking. And everyone is like, girl, stop talking. You look dumb. And then that's when Mia literally snaps yet again and calls all of them miserable bitches. And then I felt like at this moment the record scratch. Everyone's like, ah! None of us are like, child, none of us are miserable over here. And Ashley, her confessional, she's like, child, pot called kettle. And then Stacy's like, I know she ain't talking about me. I'm not miserable. I'm happy over here. And one thing I love about Wendy said it out loud and not in a confessional. She's like, child, misery ain't over here. And then she was like, misery ain't over here. You and that, what? She said, 613. She's like, 613? Like, child, these 613 girls. And I was kind of confused too. But then when she explained it, I died. 613 is the color blonde that Mia has been trying to wear this whole entire season because she wants to be Giselle and Karen so badly, and you ain't them. You're trying so hard. You are such a tryhard. And I feel like Mia didn't catch how the read was really reading, because I think that's literally what I feel like that's literally what Wendy was saying. I feel like Wendy was like, oh, you're trying to be them so bad. But it went over her head. And it even went over Stacey's head. Stacey, once you know, she explained what the color was, she's like, it's a color blonde. And it's a blonde that she's trying to wear. And Stacey in her confessional was like, child, her in that tire wig. She's like, you know, she's a gorgeous woman as a brunette. She's gorgeous. Referring to Mia. And she's like, and Ashley, you shouldn't wear that either. I was like, girl. I was like, not Ashley catching a stray in the confessional. She's like, really, the only woman on this cast that should be wearing that color is Karen. Accurate. Because Karen really is the only one that really can pull off that hair color. To me. But anyway. And then Mia's only comeback she could say is like, I think I look good in this wig. And it's like, child, no, you don't. But anyway, and then basically at the end, all the girls are looking at her, and Karen, you could tell Karen was OGing her to death. She's like, you know, you have some soul searching to do, some things you need to work on. And Mia's like, I acknowledge that. And she's like, yeah. And there's some things you could do to come around and turn things around with this group. It's just right now, ain't it? And that's where it was just like me and Jacqueline over here versus everybody else. Because all it took was her saying that one thing. She would not have snapped and said that. I don't think it would have happened that way. So I am interested to see how the rest of how next episode will turn out and how the rest of the season turn out, because Mia did nothing but alienate herself more. She did herself no favors. Like the way I think Mia thought everything that she had presented was going to land a certain way, and it's just a flop. All of it's a flop. Anyway, but that does conclude the review for The Real Housewives of Potomac. And child, I'm sorry, I lied. It was a longer review than I thought. It was because it's weird. Not a lot happened, but a lot happened. But I feel like that has been the theme for the Real Housewives of Potomac. The better episodes, there's really only 2 changes in scenery, and it's the episode. But anyway. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl, Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And also, one more thing, I will say this. I am going to try to be on camera a lot more this year. That is one of my New Year's resolutions, if you will, to get my work ethic back to what it was pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, for those who don't know, I was a workaholic. I could do all the things. And I missed that version of me. And I want her to come back. And so we're going to work on getting her back. And also, too, when I was that version of me, I was in better shape. Yeah. And so we're going to work on it. And if there's still some time where I can't make it on camera, I'm sure there still will be, especially if I go away on vacation or something like that. It is what it is. But I don't want to rely on going cameraless more than necessary. Because lately I was doing it a lot, but also, too, I'll be fully transparent. My seasonal depression was kicking my butt a little bit this year. I was aware of it. I didn't do anything crazy or nothing like that. And it wasn't as dark as it has been in the past because I've gotten a good handle of it. But I just know when it's coming, and when it's coming, I don't want to put that energy out there, visually when I'm not, feeling great. Because I feel like, it's very transferable energy. When I'm not good, I can kill the room. Just like when I'm in a great mood, I'm a huge light to the room. It's like one or the other for me. So anyway, I'm rambling, but that concludes the review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl, Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And hopefully you're having a happy 2025 so far. Child, I know some of the things that's been happening is the ghetto, but keep your head up. Anyway, bye!